I set out to make this voice training video the one I wish I had 5 years ago. It will cover everything you need with each step we go over setting up the next. I'll also be timestamping the video, so in the future if you want to review specific areas, you can. Be sure to approach this lesson while not overexerting yourself. Take breaks and drink water as needed. Right, let's begin. Introduction. Resonance. Sound is made up of vibrations. Those vibrations and voice are determined by two primary things, your vocal cords as well as space. Fortunately, the main reason why your voice may be deep is due to space, and that is very much able to be modified. The space we're looking to reduce is in your throat and your mouth, as this is, of course, where your voice travels through. An important note is no matter how deep your voice is, you can achieve a passable female voice because this space can be reduced through practice. So space is resonance and modifying your vocal cords is pitch. We want to avoid changing our pitch because utilizing your vocal cords can become a crutch that hinders your training. As well, excess use of your vocal cords can cause strain and or damage. And by excess use, I mean trying to speak in a very high pitch for long periods of time. Instead, we want to build our foundation utilizing resonance and then apply pitch to a much lesser degree when that foundation is set. Introduction Part 2. Simplified theory. There are three main areas in this video we will focus on: the larynx, mouth space, and specific muscles in the throat. First, we need to raise the larynx. This requires using muscles that you fortunately use every day, so surely it's not impossible. However, what's difficult is learning how to use these muscles outside of their normal function, which is to swallow. The second primary component is mouth space, modified mainly by your tongue. To reduce space, in other words, resonance, the back of your tongue should be lifted up towards your mouth while not quite touching, and the rest of your tongue should be relaxed. And the final primary component is muscles in your throat. Now, the larynx being lifted uses its own set of muscles, however, the ones I will show you outside of those are just as important. Section 2, Focused Exercises. Introduction. Each of these exercises are vital for setting you up for success. Because of this, during the exercises, I will use my deeper voice to work beside you. It's a common misconception that these individual pieces will make you sound more feminine, when in fact they all need to come together. But before you skip to the end to see the combination, we need to work on and understand each individual piece so that we can do so successfully. And again, I set up all exercises to build up to the next, making this as accessible as possible. Section 2, Part 1, Larynx Control. Exercise 1, Explore. Let's start with an exploration exercise. We can do this by swallowing. Importantly, don't hold the swallow, because that can do harm. Instead, pay attention to how the muscles in your throat move when swallowing like you would normally. Like I said earlier, you use these muscles every day, so that means we just need to learn how to use them outside of a swallow. You may be able to do this immediately by clenching the lowest areas of your tongue. Let's give it a try together. Clench the lowest area of your tongue. If you clench this area properly, you will feel the base of your tongue raise as well as the larynx. If you're not sure exactly where you should be clenching, place the tip of your tongue to the bottom corner of your mouth behind your bottom teeth. If done correctly, the portion of your tongue in the back of your mouth will raise up, and you will feel your throat raise up and back, similar to how when you swallow. Larynx control, exercise 2, hissing. This video will repeat some things from my last videos, but it builds upon them and is by far more value for your time. Make a gentle hissing sound like a cat. This will be achieved by passing air through your throat and your mouth. As well, to achieve the hissing sound, you'll need to raise the back of your tongue, similar to how we did in the last exercise. When doing so... Okay, sorry about that. When doing so, try to raise the tone of that hissing sound. You will immediately realize that to do so, you need to shrink the space in your throat and your mouth. Let's do it together. Make sure you're clenching the very base of your tongue, and if that feels difficult, place the tip of your tongue to the back of your teeth. If done correctly, your tongue should look like this, shrinking the space in the back of your mouth and near your throat. Larynx control, exercise 3, humming. The humming exercise, again, will work off our past exercises. Just follow me and we can get through this together. Just relax yourself for a moment, and when you do, begin to hum. Initially, you'll feel the hum in your chest area. What we want to do is raise that hum into the head region. Let's do that part together.
Deep voice reveal, let's go. Okay, yo.
You'll feel the vibration from your chest up to your head, which does feel funky, then you bring it back down to your chest. Let's do it one more time, but this time we're gonna stop at the head and continuously try to raise the tone. In fact, try to bring it up into the nose region, or as close as you comfortably can. Then, try once again to clench the lowest parts of your tongue just like earlier, aka try to raise your larynx. That siren sound is me clenching the tongue. Fun fact, we got a fun fact. The previous 3 steps can work in building foundations not only for your larynx, but your mouth space and throat muscles as well. They make a great warm-up exercise, and I recommend doing them daily, if not before every vocal session. Larynx bonus exercise, mewing. Mewing is something you can do while out and about to strengthen necessary muscles and skills. Now, usually the idea behind this is people trying to change their face shape, but for us, we're gonna try and raise our larynx. For that reason, we're not gonna have to apply a lot of pressure when doing this. Let me tell you how to do this now. First, keep your mouth closed. Second, flatten your tongue against the roof of your mouth, but again, don't strain yourself by overexerting. Third, place the tip of your tongue right behind your upper teeth. And fourth, hold in place for however long you feel is comfortable. The idea behind this is that you can build your muscles throughout your daily activities. Larynx muscles take the longest to train, so this can seriously speed up your process. Applying gentle pressure with the rear of your tongue will benefit your larynx as opposed to the forward areas of your tongue. Section 3. Mouth space. The good news is the previous lessons you may have realized already gave us a solid foundation. In that, I mean the exercises we did to raise our larynx actually raised our tongue to roughly where it'll want to be as well, but let's refine. Mouth space exercise 1, key, an exploration exercise. To get a better understanding on tongue placement, we will use the word key. So we're gonna say key, but at the very end on the E sound, clench your tongue. Here's what's happening. When you hold the E position, the rear portion of your tongue lifts up while the front stays relaxed, which is exactly what we want here. As well, your tongue will be right in the neighborhood of where it should be, which makes this a great way to gauge your tongue positioning. So we're gonna do it together, but first we wanna make sure that we don't clench the tongue to the point where it's pressing to the roof of our mouth. We will want to actually clench quite lightly. And second, it's not gonna sound any different when we speak, but we do wanna try and aim for that position of the tongue when we speak down the road.
All right, yo, key, clench. Yeah, you can kind of hear it's like a little bit, maybe not so different, but that's fine, that's fine. Once all these things come together down the road, you'll begin to sound more like this for sure. Mouth space, exercise 2, whispering. Now the tongue isn't the only part we need to worry about. The amount you open your mouth and jaw matters too. I know this sounds like a lot of small details to keep track of, but follow along and you'll see how well they can work together by the end. For now, let's just focus on this exercise. First, let's repeat the word key, holding our position of the tongue once again. This time, we will whisper 2 words. We will say key seriously. Our goal is to whisper this word while keeping the tongue in position. Try it with me.
Okay, yo, key seriously, key seriously, key seriously. If you're wondering why I say yo, it's because it helps me get to that deeper range, because, yeah. Anyway, carry on.
Key, clench the tongue. Key, seriously. Key, seriously. Key, seriously.
Train your tongue being in position where it is when you clench the word at E during the key word. If you're saying that and the back of your tongue is lifted up and not dropping down, you're doing it correctly. The goal of this exercise is to get used to speaking with your tongue lifted and your mouth and jaw not moving too much. And the next session is throat muscles, so pretty soon all of this is going to come together. Section 3, throat muscles. Your throat muscles are also going to need to be trained. As well, again, this is going to leapfrog off our previous lessons, so you're already more prepared than you may think. Throat muscles, exercise 1, yawn, then sigh. You actually have control as to where your voice resonates. We did this earlier with the hum, but now we will hone in on this idea. We're going to start with the yawn, but when we exhale, we're going to exhale with a sigh. When you're sighing, make a quiet sound with your voice. As quiet as possible, and as high in the throat as possible. Not in the mouth, nor the chest, but focusing on the rear of your mouth and the nasal passage area. Here are some examples of resonance in the different areas. First, the chest, which we will avoid. Why does that sound so stupid? Oh no, I'm gonna keep it in there. Second, the forward area of the mouth, which we will avoid. Finally, the upper throat and nasal passage area. You'll notice the sound is just a little bit brighter when sighing in that area. You may also notice when trying to make the sound in the upper throat and nasal passage area, certain areas of your throat gently flex. This is good. This is exactly what we want. Again, throat muscles play a huge role in how soft your voice is. It's important, however, to utilize these muscles with the usage of sound and shifting resonance, as opposed to consciously thinking of those areas. Because, again, we want to avoid strain, and ultimately, following the sound will make it much more natural to achieve success. Throat muscles, exercise 2, sigh, speak. Now let's move on to the next step. Sigh, then speak, then sigh. Our goal is to start with the sigh, ensuring the resonance is in the upper throat nasal area. Then slowly shift into speech, then back to a sigh. For simplicity, we will use the phrase key seriously again. Here's what it will look like. Key seriously.
key seriously. Specifically, the humming exercise going up and down and up and down is going to give you a lot of benefit for the throat muscles overall. But now it's time to bring all of this together. Section 4, combination exercises. Everything we worked on up until now will come into play here, but just as much, they will always be there for revision if you ever need or get lost. For now, let's do our first combination exercise. Section 3, exercise 1, The technique is going to seamlessly marry everything we just did into one exercise. It has multiple steps and will require proper control of your breath. So be sure to breathe through your nose and take a big inhale before you try it. I'm going to walk you through it without me doing it myself, and then after I'll do it with you. First, start with the hum and bring it to your head. Second, hold any tension that you have and inhale through your nose. Be sure not to apply any more tension than your body has already applied. Third, sigh in the back of your throat while clenching your tongue. Fourth, say Now I'm going to do it with you. First, start with the hum and bring it to your head. Second, hold any tension and inhale through your nose. Third, sigh in the back of your throat while clenching your tongue. Fourth, say while gently clenching the tongue. Here's what's happening when we do this. When you bring the hum up into the head, your throat muscles will work on lifting the resonance. Then when you sigh and clench your tongue, you lock that in. And third, is going to not only bring your tongue into position even more, but also raise your larynx due to the tension required in your tongue to make the sound. It may take some trial and error, but try it a few times until you connect these pieces together. But we're not done yet. Honestly, we have a few more things to do. First of all, we're going to repeat this, but we're going to add the phrase key seriously at the very end. So let's do this one more time. First, start with the hum. Bring it into the head. Second, hold any tension and inhale through your nose. Third, sigh in the upper area of your throat and nasal region. Fourth, say, 5, key seriously. So it'll look like this. Key seriously, key seriously. Your goal with this exercise is to eventually say more than 2 words. Also, this is going to take time as certain muscles need to develop. On top of this, your ability to control these muscles needs to develop as well. That concludes the exercise portion of this video, but we're not done because now we need to set you up for success. Section 5, set yourself up for success. Your practice sessions should start with warm-ups. This will help ease your muscles into sessions, but also help refine the tools you need to have an effective session of practice. Your practice sessions should look like this. First, start with a warm-up exercise. Second, use the technique with the key seriously phrase. Third, try to refine the sound of this phrase. Fourth, use this framework to work into saying longer sentences over time. Step 5, when you're confident about saying longer sentences, try to do so while imitating another female's voice. Section 5, part 2, recording. To truly maximize your skill, you need to record your voice.
A few things about this before you throw me across the room.
1, it's the only way to truly know if you're making progress. 2, if you save your best sound samples, you can refer to these at the beginning of sessions so you don't lose your progress. In other words, if you imitate your own voice, your muscles will click into place as opposed to having to refine that progress. This will skyrocket your progression and also reduce the time it takes to find your foundation. And if you find that difficult, that's natural. Honestly, we all hate this part of the process, but just think to yourself, this isn't how you're going to sound at the end of it. This is you learning and growing. Like, you don't judge a pizza until it's cooked out the oven, right? You know, when the person's spinning it and stuff, you don't tell the pizza guy that the pizza sucks. Do you? If you do, you should stop doing that. Section 5, part 3, follow the sound. When I say follow the sound, I don't mean necessarily record your voice, although that is incredibly important. What I mean is when you're trying to achieve your voice, think about the sound, don't think about the independent muscle. Ultimately, your body knows how to achieve these sounds much better than you do consciously. So you want to train muscle memory in these exercises. That's where you think about the muscles themselves. But when you're utilizing them and trying to speak, you want to think about the sound specifically. Section 5, part 4, foundation phrase. When practicing, having a foundation phrase can help too. Repeating the same phrase for every session will train muscle memory pretty quick. Another huge benefit is outside of practice, you can use your foundation phrase to get right back on track if you ever feel lost with how you might sound. It's been 5 years and I still use my foundation phrases. In fact, I have one for each character I voice. Section 5, part 5, extra stuff. Things like your posture, breath application, and breath control, as well as pitch, can help,
but only if and when you have built the foundation of resonance. Also, it's really important to point out that when you are trying to do things like clenching your tongue, etc., there is a point where you're doing it too much. You don't want to overexert yourself, but also if you do it too much, you actually block airways and make it impossible to speak. Part 6, important notes. Make sure you don't flex the muscles in your face. This is a very common mistake a lot of people do. Make sure not to accidentally use pitch when training resonance specifically, and don't try to use pitch in compensation of resonance. Like, pitch won't really ever need to be adjusted to sound passably female. Like, once you're up there, you can bring it down really deep and actually sound like a cis woman trying to sound like a guy. And then you can bring up even higher to sound even more bright in the voice. But I mean, my vocal cords are quite neutral when I'm speaking. I'm just using the muscles for resonance. And once again, take breaks as needed. Seriously, do not overexert yourself. The last thing you want to do is damage yourself. Final thoughts. No matter how difficult this may seem, progress is very much possible with consistent effort. It may take time, but if you don't give up, you will get there. However, I urge you not to wait for the times where you feel like doing it, or in other words, feel motivated. Motivation is the emotional response to an exciting idea, and discipline is the practice that will get you to that idea. And discipline is best defined by setting out a path for yourself and doing it even when you don't feel like doing it. Being consistent. Working through something as difficult as this is a testament to your character, and while you achieve your passable voice, you can also build resilience in nature. The ability to not give up, the ability to fight for what you want in life. Thank you for watching. If you want to support, there's links to my Patreon and YouTube memberships down below. As well, thanks to all the Patreon and YouTube members that made this video possible. Thank you, sincerely. Like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and that's about it. Okay, bye.